What kind of information do you need to know from the factory about your product? We're going to list here several need to know answers that you're going to want to talk to your supplier about. The first one, and of course, one that most of us are interested in, is price. After you get quotes from several suppliers, you can start to see where the range is that is appropriate for that product. That's why I recommend not just getting a price quote from one supplier. Try to get as many price quotes as possible so that you can start to gauge, okay, what seems a little low, but what seems maybe a little high. And then you can make a good judgment call on what should be a reasonable price for the product. Number 2, quality. Now the quality that you're gonna see ultimately is once you've ordered the sample and you have it in your hands and you can touch and feel it yourself. But asking the supplier about their quality and then have them send you several pictures to show the quality. Now one question that I like to ask all the suppliers that I work with when I first contact with them is I say, there are many different suppliers for this product. What makes yours better than the rest? Is there something about the quality? Can you please tell me? And then I start to see what they say. And you'll be surprised. Maybe one will just go off and talk about how great their product is, but not really know about the competition. Whereas another supplier you may ask that question to, they may say, there's 2 different types of materials for this product. We use this type of material where the majority use this other type of material. Us personally, maybe we didn't have that previous knowledge, but by asking them, what specifically makes your product better than these other ones, they can actually start to teach you or educate you more about the product because they're the experts. You start to see who is just trying to sell their own product or only has knowledge about their own products, or who has knowledge about all the products on the market. If you were to go to the BMW dealership and you said, tell me what makes a BMW better than the other high-end luxury cars. And they just said, well, it rides smooth, it's got great gas mileage, it's really comfortable. You would say, okay, but even if I didn't ask you what makes it better, if I just said, why do you like this car? You would have just said those same things. But now if you went to the Mercedes dealership, and he said, what makes your E-Class better than the other high-end luxury mid-size sedans? And they said, well, the Audi A6, its headroom is approximately 4 inches lower than our E-Class. And now the BMW 7 Series, the gas mileage is about 5 miles per gallon less. And they just went on, and they could tell you directly what makes it better. Now, sometimes, does that mean you're gonna work with that factory? No, but they just gave you a quick education that you would have no idea how it compares unless you bought everyone's sample to your house or your place of work. You did a touch test on all of them, but you see, that would cost a lot of money and it would take a lot of time. So you can start to narrow some of that information down and then go to the other factories who perhaps didn't know as much and say, this factory says that theirs is this quality and has this material. What about yours? And then next thing you know, they'll talk to their manager or somebody and they'll realize, oh yeah, you know what? We have that option too, and we do have this nicer one. So asking them that question, what makes your product better than the rest? Sometimes it takes a little bit of digging, asking a little bit more questions to try to get a little more information out of them. But eventually you will find a supplier who is very educated on that product and on the market in whole. Now the third question we want to ask is production time. So if you have a larger order, many suppliers' production time is around 30 days, 25 to 30 days. And it doesn't matter how much you order from them, it has to go through the same process, and it's about that amount of time. But for some suppliers, they may say 50 days, and others they may say 15 days. Now, that's important to you because it'll help you to realize, okay, when are my next reorder points? If it takes 30 days to produce the item and perhaps 15 to 30 days to ship the item, that means I need to be purchasing X amount of months worth of inventory at a time. And I gotta make sure my inventory at Amazon doesn't get too low before I order it again. Whereas if your supplier has a shorter production time, that means you can run your business a little bit leaner and not have to have so much ordered at a time. But perhaps the better price is by the factory that takes a longer time to produce the item. So those are different things though that you want to keep in mind, and that asking them how long is the production time really helps to make those good answers to how you want to go forward with that product. Now the next question you want to find out is the MOQ, which stands for the minimum order quantity. On Alibaba, you'll see that they have these gigantic minimum order quantities, they'll say. And even when you first talk to them, they'll say, the minimum order quantity is 50,000, right? They want this huge order from you. But remember, this is always negotiable. Now with some factories, you can negotiate it farther down than others. You may have to pay a higher price for a smaller quantity, but you can still get that smaller quantity. Now keep in mind though, if you want something custom done with some type of special packaging or logo or branding, there's a very good chance that you're gonna have to have a higher minimum order quantity for them to do it, because it's expensive to create a new mold for a design or something like that. So keep that in mind, that if you want to have perhaps some really nice packaging and some other custom things done, that your minimum order quantity will raise a bit. But what you can use is, if one company gives you a minimum order quantity, you can actually try to use that information when working with the other suppliers to get their minimum order quantity down also. And finally, this isn't a question you're going to want to ask, but this is more of something you're going to want to be paying attention to, and that is, how well do they communicate with you? Now, some suppliers that I've seen, you'll write them a response on chat or on Skype or WeChat or WhatsApp, and it takes half hour every single time they respond. It takes forever. You basically could have just been emailing them. That's how long they respond. Then you'll find other suppliers who are, you say, hello or good evening. Instantly, they start replying to you. Hey, I have a question. Instantly, they're replying to you. The ones who reply really quickly, they may have a little bit higher price. And the ones who take forever may have a little bit lower price. What I've seen though is that communication and being able to communicate well with whoever you're working with, it's almost priceless. That's how you're going to troubleshoot problems. That's how you're going to work together to get the best product available out and the best version. So make sure that you feel comfortable with their communication, and that you feel they understand you well and that they respond quickly to you. Now, does this mean if one factory or supplier is really not good at communication, you can't work with them at all? No, not at all. Maybe you have a little more patience than somebody like myself. I know other times I've actually asked, perhaps could I ask your manager a question, and got their information. And then I said, is there another salesperson that I could talk to? I feel like our communication is a little bit lacking, but I'd really like to work with your company. And then I've been able to be passed on to another salesman at that same supplier, and it worked a lot better. So there definitely is, as you'll see through this process, some navigating. It's not just a yes, no. If this supplier doesn't contact me well, then it's a no. No, you gotta be able to kind of ebb and flow a little bit and try to find out that right balance of what works best for you.